Good morning, guys. I am so sorry I overslept and didn't have my alarm set. But we're still here. We're here. Good morning, Redmond. Hello. Good morning, Chrissy. Hello. Thank you for redeeming first. Thank you for redeeming favorite. We were just working on some art. I was working on this stuff late last night, and you know what? let's just talk for just a second because yesterday I had to complete the card that went out for for what is oversleeping, right? Um, and normally I don't because I'm really good about waking up before my alarms, but this morning was not. But I was working on this and working kind of late into the night and stuff like that. 6 month notice. 6 month notice. Oh shit. Kim, you have to remind me what your birthday is. Good morning. How are you doing? And yes, I will send you a birthday card. I will hand deliver it in person. Um, I think I have it in my calendar, but like, look, I've been up for not even a full hour yet. so, um, but I was doing this, and I remember this like when I woke up this morning. I was like, I didn't finish up things, and I did. So rest is productive. No matter what anybody says, rest is productive. And it's something that I'm trying to remember myself, and something that I'm trying to and now your points broke. Oh, something that I'm trying to remember myself, because sometimes it feels like when we take a break or we rest and we have a down day that we have to do more. And yesterday I was literally up at 4:30, and all the things that I was working on, plus getting some game time in with my brother and RC last night was really nice, because like I ended up working until like 7 o'clock. And so but then I took a break to have some downtime for about 2.5 3 hours, and then after that I was still working on some other stuff and things. So by the time I went to bed at 1, like the last thing I looked at was not my alarms. I just was like, I passed out. I didn't have my watch on me. I didn't have my phone charged. I didn't have any of those things. So my phone is at like a deep state of like 10% right now. So, but this is a thing that I sent out with our members yesterday. Was that rest is productive, and it's something that I am trying to honor myself and continue to like give myself the benefit of, you can't just burn yourself out all the time. So anyways, this was an art piece that I did get done yesterday. I just wanted to share this with you guys. This is a card that is going out, and it will be included in the semi mail stuff because I think this is just adorable. So today we are going to be working on, though, coloring pages. So we're going to be working on this one, which is my little unicorn doing coloring and stuff like that. So I think this is really cute. I started adding some little extra stuff onto there. That was like, I totally like screwed up that show, but I was just sketching. So you have to have a donut in there. I need this one. This would be so perfect for back to school. And I want to keep it a little simple, a little bit easier for those, those twos that you got and stuff like that. So today we're going to do this one. Rest is so productive. I have actual doctor recommendations that I benefit from 10-minute brain breaks throughout the day, and also use anxiety coping mechanisms throughout the day as my body isn't noticing until I'm too heightened. So, like using my weighted blanket on my lap during work calls. Oh, that's good. That is really good. Rest is so incredibly productive. And we're I don't want to say ingrained, and I'm slightly older than most of the people that are in our chat and stuff like that. So I've always been taught to hustle, 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 hustle. You don't sit down. If you've got 5 minutes to sit down, you've got 5 minutes to cram something else into it. And it just comes from our society of like, you always must be doing. And I think I realized that, like, I love my nieces, and while they were here, that we were constantly doing, and there was very little rest time, which is why on Friday, when I just completely gave into my bed, my lovely bed, it was just so nice to just kind of have that rest thing. So, but I didn't, and like we'd still be talking about this even though I like didn't sleep in this morning, but I feel like this is just really poignant because like yeah, kind of overslept, but I should have looked at my alarms because I took them all off for the 2 weeks because I was like, I don't want to be like waking up at 6 a.m. when we're already going to like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, anyways, because 5 hours sleep is only sustainable for so long. So let's add a few other little like maybe I'll change this instead of you complete me because I don't know if the kids would understand that. I will make this one for the twos. This will go up on fourth wall as well. That was the one thing that I forgot to do yesterday. Put the thing on fourth wall. Oh my goodness. I was like, I know I was missing something else, but anyways, we have a new playlist today. Today we're doing Chill Hop. You can find Chill Hop on Spotify. And this is the cozy reading session. So it's just all instrumentals, no words or anything. And I kind of previewed it a little bit yesterday. So I think that's why I don't play with you and RC much because y'all play so late and I'd be tired. Listen, I'm just trying to cram all of my life into a day. Like literally. So but it's hard now because like I haven't played Fortnite in probably 3 weeks now. Because my brother's like, we have to play Lord of the Rings Return to Moria, and that game is so much fun. So much fun. And so I may show you guys like what that looks like maybe tomorrow, I don't know, but it is so much fun. So if you're thinking about getting the game, if you have Epic, they did give it for free, so you may already have it in like your inventory if you did that. I don't like the spacing on that, and I don't even know why that even matters because this isn't even permanent. See, brain not attach. Best friends. Best friends. There you go. Coffee and donuts. Is there a better combination? I love Blitz on Fortnite. I love Blitz. It is so much fun. So much fun. But the thing is I'm like hardcore bedtime set at 10. And then for whatever reason, life just ends up lifing. And next thing you know, I'm like, oh, I forgot to load the dishwasher. I gotta take the dog out. I gotta brush my teeth. Gotta wash my face. Gotta do my whole face skin routine thing. And then, oh, did I remember to move that over there? Did I remember to like send that one email? You know, it's all those little things at the end of the day that I'm like, I somehow manage to forget throughout the day. So that's where that comes in. All right, I think we're pretty close to like, I'm gonna do this in my regular pen today, but what else do we want to add to this? Because I was looking at some like ideas for, I feel like we need a little plant. We should have maybe some books on our little shelf. We'll throw some books up here. Because you can never have too many books. Like ever in a lifetime. Never, never, never. We'll do some bigger books. And we'll just kind of put that one over there. Yeah, bro, what's up? Really? Oh, okay. I feel like we need a donut trophy. Like a little donut trophy. Like that would be fun. But yeah, so that's what happened last night. So thanks for like understanding that never enough books. Yeah. What is skincare? Good morning, Dragon. Star Loud and Tree. Gonna make my second cup of coffee. Yes. Just saying I overslept. So if you got the message, I sent that in like I overslept, but we're still going live anyways. Cause yes, that is what we're doing today. I want to do like a little crown. I don't know. Bro, I'm gonna have to put you out if you're gonna be all like whiny, whiny, whiny. There you go. We have, that'll be a smaller one. I feel like that almost in itself is just enough. We could probably go with some like little leaves like poking down. For like some, clear up some space in here. Or we could do like some pictures. Maybe we have some things tape to the wall. We got a poster over here or something. I think that would be fun. That maybe we'll pin this one. That just reminds me to do pins in there. That's not straight at all. That's okay though. And then maybe we'll do like a mini dream catcher here. I feel like that would be cute. Wait, let's move this. Like, hold on a second. Let's move this real quick. That looks better. Just no, not that one. We'll have to go in with a fine. Kind of want to add this as like, you know what, we'll do a frog because I think that'll be easier to convey in a small space than trying, because I'm still working on unicorns and stuff like that. But how is everybody doing? Did y'all like have a good night last night? How about all the things? We'll do a frog. We'll do a frog. My pen is not anywhere, or my pencil is not anywhere near short enough to be able to do the things. That'll be cute. All right. Just some things in the background because this is adorable, but we just need a little... Straight. It helps when I have my lines here because then I can like just go back in and trace over. So that's what I'm trying to do here. I think I need to add one there. Tonight I'm going over to my brother's house. We're gonna watch The Hobbit, and we're going to build Barad-dûr, and we're going to have dinner. So because he built his cabinet yesterday, so I'm gonna have family time today, which is gonna be really fun. I'm super excited for. What color am I drawing in? Oh, I'm drawing in black. Apparently, no wonder it's throwing me off. So I'm like, this doesn't look anything like my stuff. I could fall asleep last night. My mind wouldn't turn off. Generous Bessard, thank you. Tell you what, he had to refresh 3 times before everything was gonna Twitch. I have no idea. I have no idea. I assume everything is broken. So, let's go. I feel like this is like real good. So we're gonna add a second layer. We're gonna bring this one on top. And then we're going to drop that opacity down there. I really like the texture grain, but I don't know if I can get it like small enough for, wait, oh, I can't. It just doesn't feel like it's thick enough. Do you switch back? No. Alright, I'm gonna lock this layer so it doesn't keep trying to allow me to draw on it. I'm sorry you couldn't fall asleep. I know I had so many creative things that I was working on yesterday that like there's just some things that I was like, yep, trying to burn the candle on both ends, which don't do that. This is gonna be so cute. I always go back and see like what things can I draw now that like my stuff has, I feel like has improved, you know, so, and unicorns, oddly enough, are one of those things that I struggle with drawing. But I know this about myself, so. And it's not that I can't, it's that it just always trips me up because, like, it's so easy, right? Whoops. Let's go here. Or it should be, theoretically. Hi, good morning, RC. You have the problem most nights, you just can't turn off your brain. That is legit, though. You know what I started doing so that I couldn't sit in bed and just think about all of the things and doom scroll and my brain just go crazy and stuff like that? I started playing games that really encourage my mind to think about something else. So I love solitaire. I don't know if you guys know that about me, but I love solitaire. And Microsoft has solitaire games that you can put on your phone, and it has 5 different types of solitaire. Let me see if I can tell you what they are off because I don't remember off the top of my head, but Microsoft Solitaire Collection. So here, let me go here. Microsoft Solitaire Collection, and they have Klondike, Spider, Free Cell, Pyramid, and Tri-Peaks. Every day they have a today's event and they have daily challenges. So this is the stuff. The team principal. Oh, okay, that's good. Love Spider. Yes. So I like to play this when my brain will not like shut up, because I find that changing like the direction of where my thoughts are going, so they can't just sit there and just like, why didn't I get this done? Why didn't I say that? Why didn't I like, look, I can only do so much. I'm just a human, you know, so just like you guys are. But that has been like the biggest thing to help me sleep. So I recommend, if you are even remotely kind of sort of maybe ish like I like playing games like that before bed, I would totally do the things if I were you. Try it out, because your brain wants to be refocused. It's like a little kid having a tantrum, right? So when a little kid is having a tantrum, which Christy knows, what is really, really good, and I say that because Christy's a teacher of 2-year-olds. So 2-year-olds tend to not understand yet what the world is like, so they're going to have tantrums. But our brains are very much like little kids having tantrums, especially when you get in bed at night, because you're not doing anything else. You're just sitting there. And if you're not doom scrolling, which I love a good doom scroll. Literally on Friday, I sat there, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, all three of them, going back and forth between all the things. And then when I was like, I'm done with this platform for a while, then you can, you could go and do all the things. But you need to redirect those thoughts somewhere. And journaling before bed is an excellent way of doing that. But if you're like, I don't want to do that, I want to lay in bed, I don't want to have the light on, I just want to have my phone here, that is such a great way to be able to do the things. It's free. You do get the ads every now and then, or you can pay, I think it was like $12 for like the subscription, or like for like no ads for the whole year or something like that. I love that. So that is my like go-to, and I recommend it so hard for anybody who is like, I just don't know how you fall asleep like that. And I'm like, well, this is what I do, because it's not beneficial to me to like, that didn't look right, this side. It's not beneficial for me to sit there and let my thoughts become the permanent nature, because then what happens is those thoughts are like the last thing that you play. Win XP Solitaire right now, so that is very much Windows XP. So you found it online. This is Microsoft's version of like the Windows XP that we've, or like the Windows Solitaire that we've always had. They just started including the other things other than just Klondike and Spider. So which I think is really, really cool, because I'm like, I love Free Cell, I love Pyramid, I love Tri-Peaks, like so good. And you can go in there and you can do like the daily things, and there'll be anything from easy to like grandmaster. And I love to challenge myself and do like a grandmaster. I may not win for like 6 or 7 rounds of Klondike, but like, because I have not tried it on the other ones yet. I'm still working on my expert levels on those ones, but it is such a good way to like redirect our brains when they're being terrors. So, but that is like the biggest key that I have found, is just redirecting our thoughts when, because they are just little children having tantrums. But then what happens is, if you go to bed and you're feeling all those things, guess what happens? You wake up in the morning and you still have that same energy as when you went to bed. And then you're like, when does this Groundhog's Day stop? Because you went to bed with those thoughts, and they may not be super important. They may not be like, whatever. It could be everything from, am I doing a good job here, to did I show up good enough here? Did I like, the thoughts, the anxiety are usually with like negative thoughts. Because if you're having good thoughts, the last thing you're thinking, or the last thing that's keeping you up, is those good thoughts. Usually those are like, oh, I had a great day today, and like stuff like that. But what if you found something also right in your day that you're like, I'm so glad this one thing happened today, and focus on that too. So That's how you change the whole like Groundhog's Day thing, like that. When it comes to intentionality and like all of that stuff, I literally am like pro on that because I've had to change my thoughts, my beliefs, and things like that. So I think if I can do it, y'all can do it too, because it's not, it is hard, and I'm not gonna say it's not hard, but it's so worth it though. So worth it. Because most of those times, those thoughts are just, I'm not good enough. I didn't show up well enough today. How come I'm not doing blah 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 at work? And I'm not saying that I don't have those too, because I definitely do. I don't want it to be that deep of a V. Ooh. Um, there we go. But where you give your attention to is what gets focused on in your brain. It's been the biggest thing that has held me back as an artist, because I would go to bed thinking, oh, my art is not great. And then guess what? My art was not doing what I wanted it to do in life, or I'm not a good friend, or I'm not a good whatever wife when I was one. Don't let those thoughts sabotage your life. Don't let them tell you stories, because that person, that little inner voice, is not the kindest voice. And if it was somebody else in your life that was telling you those things, you wouldn't listen to them. It's okay to like have that voice sometimes, but for the most part, that voice is not helping you out in any way, shape, or form. So you have to ask yourself, is this benefiting me, or is this hurting me? And if you're one of those people plagued at night with all the different thoughts of things and stuff like that, then is that helping you? Well, this game is buggy. I appreciate you talking about this. Sometimes I feel so alone in this. Oh, absolutely, Kim. Absolutely. No, like there's a lot of times I'm learning to not listen to my inner critic because it doesn't say anything positive. Um and rewiring the way that those words come out, instead of me going, hey, I'm not a good friend. I'm trying to rewire that mindset so that it's like, I am a good friend when I am able to show up. Like, not everybody can be, there 1,000% of the time. And I don't know why. I personally feel like I have to show up 1,000% every single moment. Like, nobody expects me to do those things. So, but I expect those things of myself. So where's the grace for me? And if I'm talking to you, I would give you more grace than I would give myself grace. So I'm learning to give myself grace first, and then rewire that and reprogram the way my brain thinks. Otherwise, the moment it starts, I literally like redirect it into something else. So this may be like a 5 minute, okay, I'm not listening to you anymore because you're not in a positive space that I want to be in. So this is the 5 minutes I'm going to spend scrolling TikTok. That's 12 videos. You know what I mean? So like I can get into those spaces and be able to re-change the way my brain is thinking about stuff. Oh no, who did that? Oh, I clicked on white somehow. I thought it was erasing stuff. All right. But look, I go through it and I do the work myself, so I will never tell anybody to do this work if I'm not doing it. And I do it on a daily basis. It is one of the reasons why I did my affirmation cards. Like just to show you, hold on a second, give me 1 second. So I created my own affirmation deck, and I went through, designed the back, designed the fronts, printed them out. 64 cards, 60 cards. There's 4 cards in here that just kind of tell what this is, because like you never know. But it's everything from my worth is not earned, it's innate. Because I have been so in the I need to work really, really hard and then feel bad because I'm like not able to, like art takes time. I can't just mass produce art very quickly. So those are some of the things. I let creativity and curiosity lead the way. And I use this as like I use this as a calibration deck. But I'll go through and I will literally I just got my laminating sheets and I need to put them into the laminator because they're not quite really strong because I didn't have like really thick cardstock. This one, when I just did that, I surrender the how and I trust the unfolding. Sometimes we want to know what the path looks like. We want to build the path ourselves, and then the universe tells us that's not your job. You shouldn't be doing this. So I'm trying to remember that there is something greater than me. I call him Gus, God, universe, source, call them Gus, whatever you want to refer to it as. But yeah, you can totally share something personal. Very recently diagnosed autistic, so I finally have documented why it's so hard for my brain and why I've had such troubles. Start learning how to get help with now that I have this. Aw, Kim, love you. And just because you have that, don't, because I was diagnosed ADHD, and there are a lot of moments that come into play that I am, oh my gosh, I'm having an ADHD moment because my brain can't stay together on some stuff. But I'm learning to trust that that is such a superpower for me, not a hindrance. And it's how I allow the inner voice inside me go, well, see, this is why you couldn't do this because you're ADHD. Don't let it do that. Don't let it come from a negative space. Because if you were talking to anybody else, you would have compassion and grace. And it is just a label. It doesn't change who you are. It does explain some things, but you're still magnificent in just being you. So, and I'm lucky enough that I get to know you personally. So, like that doesn't change how I view you. I think you're still wonderful and amazing, and I cannot wait. I saw your text message yesterday. I was so busy yesterday that I just didn't get back to you. But like, it's not. Yeah, I think that's what the diagnosis should be for, not to be like, oh, because so many people go, I finally got that diagnosis. And they put blame on that instead of just being like, look, I am gracefully going to fuck up every single day, but I'm going to show up every single day in my beauty and the best that I can do. And that's all that you should do. Nobody can ask anything more than you. Yeah, the things, and that's okay that you get worked up and you don't understand. It does make sense, and it does help that you have that, but you can change how you view that too, because that gives you something. Like, everybody's experiences, all, I want to say like so many words so fast, but they're like you can get accommodations at work legally, not just because, yeah, exactly, which is great. But don't let it be the crutch. Let it be your superpower. And I keep trying to change a lot of people's minds on that because I'm part of like the subreddit ADHD women. And knowing that Eva is definitely very ADHD, but I think she's got some autism in there as well, just because of how she responds to different things is, like, I've done a lot of research about the things that, I love to research and do all that stuff. But looking at her, we're adjusting how the things are, and she'll get very frustrated about stuff, and I'm like, that's okay, you're still loved, you're still cared for, we're still like, so it's about allowing yourself to show up fully. And if you have to have the diagnosis, which I think everybody should get diagnosed if you feel like there's something off about you, but don't let it be a crutch. Don't let it be a hindrance. Don't let it be well, I guess I can't show up. I can't clean my room because I've got ADHD, or I can't, spend time with people because I just can't do this, sort of thing. So, way to go, Nightbot. But use it as this makes sense for me. This allows me to better say yes or no to situations. But we also don't respond to how things are. We're told we have to say yes to everything. We have to say yes to things that we don't agree with. We have to say yes and just accept how things are. This is a way to allow you to just say, this is not, this is not like, oh, I lost a train of thought because I saw that. Kim, hold on, let me go back and read Redmond's thing because I want to say something about that. It might help paint the picture or help guide you along your journey, but it shouldn't tell you everyone that someone is. Yes. So, going back to that, it allows you to respond to the situations which are most comfortable for you. And either people can accept those or they can just fuck right off. Like, you'll get to a point in your life, and I'm so thankful that I finally got there. But I remember in my 30s, I said yes so much to things that I really, really wanted to say no to. And in my 40s, now being 45, I realizing that the beauty of getting older is the only thing that changes is that I feel more confident to say, I don't agree with that, and have a stronger voice because I'm showing up for who I am. Did it help that I got diagnosed? Absolutely. But did it help stepping into my own power? Fuck yes. And I wish people in their 30s would just do that. And I see some people are younger generations that are just like, this is me, bitches, accept it, I don't care. And I'm like, I love that power because when I was that age, I could not do the things. So knowledge is power and strength, yes. I'm positive I'm somewhere on the spectrum, but I'm even more convinced that there's more to me than that, like a case that hasn't been unearthed yet. Well, here's the beauty of that, Redmond, is you are so beautiful, unique. So regardless of whether or not you're on the spectrum, nobody has ever, 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 ever walked in your unique perspective. So that deserves some love and some care for that right there. It's one of the reasons that makes you so wonderfully you. Now, either people are going to accept that or they can fuck off. Like, I love having you in my community. I think if you stepped away from this community, I would fully step away from this community as well, because your energy is so incredibly special and what makes our community. But that's why you show up here. That's why you're a mod. That's why you've been here since day one. You know what I mean? But like, those things are, you need that co-creation of the things together, and you're beautiful in like how you are. Please just stay the way. Initially diagnosed with some sort of borderline and bipolar. See, now when you told me that, I was like, I don't see that in you. I did not see that in you. But I think women specifically get diagnosed so much with either borderline or bipolar because we have stronger emotions. Not that men don't, because men do have the same emotions, but with having a monthly cycle and the things like that, everything that ADHD, autism masks very much like a personality disorder or a bipolar disorder. And it's so frustrating because I had to fight for myself to be like, I'm not fucking bipolar, because I know what bipolar looks like. I grew up with a stepdad who was literally the worst bipolar case. And like, he would just be sitting there and then suddenly so incredibly angry that he would, and I hate to like go here, but trigger warning, he would try to domestic a lot of shit in our house. And it was just like, I know what bipolar looks like. I don't look like that. I'm like, yeah, I'll get upset, but people get upset, and anger is a natural way of things. But because I used to hear people go, well, you're angry all the time. I'm like, no. And therapy really helped me for this one. And I'm very open about this, but because I used to be an angry person. Yeah, I was frustrated. I was upset. I was mad. I was downright angry. But I was never just like so quick to go from here to light switch to angry. You know what I mean? So it was things that would build up throughout the day in a natural response to some of the shit that was happening to my life. So there's a website called allbrainthings.org that my doc recommended for anyone interested in learning. Ooh, I love it. All Brian's belong? All brains or Brian's? Hold on a second. Let me look at this. And I'm only asking, not calling out brain, okay? Because I often get the two backwards. I know I do this thing, which is why I was asking, because I do the same thing. I'm like, wait a second, that doesn't look right. Why doesn't that look right? And so I always have to go back and do the things. It's there's some things that I get super dyslexic on. So I'm like, it's just Brian anymore. So like, it's fine. My brain's name is Brian. That's what it is. Let me get sorry, now because it's gonna put me in a fit of giggles. Let me get a proper link for y'all. So then anybody who wants to just link, and we can put this into Discord. I think that would be a really good help in the link of Fort one there. Oh my gosh. See, look, I just deleted the I and then did it again. Yeah, we're good here. We're good here. It's fine. We're fine. I don't know. Maybe we're just not awake yet. That's what I'm gonna say. Yeah, that's where we're at. So we'll put this up here. And we'll unpin that for till the end of stream. So, in case anybody is like there. So all Brian's belong. Go do the things. Sorry. That's just too funny now. But no, like there's nothing inherently wrong with anybody. Y'all are just wonderful and stuff like that. So I think that's the key thing there, is just trusting that your journey is uniquely and beautifully your own. Learning how to respond to situations, which I think having the diagnosis really helps us to like understand why we may say yes. But I've delved deeper into that because I do the human design part of that too, and we've talked about human design a little bit. It's on this channel throughout the years, but human design tells us how we're supposed to respond to things. Like, I'm a manifesting generator, which means that I can think of anything and do the work. So I can bring the creativity, but also bring the execution into the world. However, my response time needs to be like, I cannot, unless it's a immediately or I really have to listen to that. And if it's not coming up in that way, then I need to take the time to allow my body to process it properly. There are a lot of really great websites that can do the things for you if you're interested in knowing what your human design is. It goes into the root chakra system along with the I Ching, not roots, the chakra system, the I Ching, astrology, and then it just has like the different gates and stuff like that, which is part of why am I blanking on the fourth one? But it doesn't take just astrology. It takes like everything that makes up you. That was very eye-opening for me, just because I was like, whoa, that made so much sense to the reason why like I need to respond to things in a very certain way. And waiting to respond when it's correct for me has really, really helped me out, because I found that, again, I was always conditioned to say yes to everything. Yes, I will do that. Yes, I will do that. Yes, I will do that. Yes, but at the detriment to what? And that ended up being me. So it's taking care of yourself and putting yourself, let's go, putting yourself forward is really, 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 really important. So but if you guys want to know more about that, I can link like the ones that I've used before. I use Gene Matrix. I have a subscription to that because I know how to actually do all things human design, because I really wanted to know how best to show up for myself. But I think knowing, like, having the diagnosis is wonderful, but also knowing how you are supposed to respond to things is so incredibly important. just because it helps you make all of those decisions in the world. I can have a creative idea that feels like an immediate yes, or somebody will say, oh, you should totally do blah, 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 blah. And it is like, it's not an immediate yes. It's like that's a response. And so that response is, I don't align with it, which means it's not going to work out for you. It's a lot of, you know, extra stuff into it and things like that. But I love that you got that diagnosis. I hope that it helps you feel more like you, when you're showing up in the world, how you show up, because it's so important that you are your bestest, most authentic self. So I love a good spider solitaire. So challenging. Um, but I love that you have that. I can talk all day about this stuff, and it is one of those things that I do want to like talk more about, because I feel like there's so many people who are looking for, I don't want to say this the way that it's going to come out, but I'm just going to say it, but permission to be themselves. Hi TK, how are you doing today? Hopefully your Wednesday is doing wonderfully. I almost said Tuesday because what day are we in again? I don't know. But I think permission to fully show up as themselves and realize that, you know, like I have always known that I was not the normal person. Like I've always known that my path has always been different. I've known that since I was little. I've known that into my 20s, my 30s, in my 40s, I have permission to show up as who I'm meant to be. And I am a normal person, but I'm not normal. I don't show up in the world. I don't say yes to the things that don't fill me up, that doesn't fill my cup up. Um, and I'm learning to finally be okay with that. And anybody that I can help break free to, like, yeah, absolutely, Kim. Absolutely. Um, it's, don't say it's Thursday because I will be so off because I will not show up tomorrow. You know I won't. Um, my anchor every is Wednesdays because that's the day that Eva goes to her dad's house. So like that is like my anchor for the week. And if you throw me off and she's still here, I'll be like, what the fuck? So don't do that, Hersey. You're so welcome, Kim. And it is so perfectly normal. It is so normal to talk about these things. And the thing that I've always wanted for this channel has always been to talk about the things that other people cannot. I have no problem talking. My voice is strong. My voice is very mighty when it comes like that. And that is superpower for me. A lot of people have told me, you talk too much. Yeah, well, fuck it. Because you had a problem. I don't have a problem with it. But talking too much about the most important things, I think, is not an issue. It's somebody feeling like they were uncomfortable hearing because they didn't want to go through the work. And I go through the work. I put myself through the work every single day. I change the voices in my head. I change the way I show up in the world. I have post-it notes all around my house of like how to do things better. Literally. Jen, keep the art simple and give more in offerings, because I overdo the art and then I get really burnt out because I overdo the art. You want to know what simple art looks like? This is funny. This is funny. This reminds me. You see this photo? Look at this. Simple art. I just love this so much. But it's just, everybody's like, why do you have a picture of that? Because, oh snap. It makes me so happy. Simple art. It's simple. It makes me happy. That's what it's supposed to do. I love it. I love it. I love it. But like, because I made it and my brother comes over, he's like, why? And I'm like, I don't have to explain myself to you. Exactly. It's framed. It's framed. So good. My mom always backed me up being my unapologetic self. I'm friendly, but if you don't want my friendship, I'm good. Don't waste it on you. And Dragon, I love your friendship because it has taught me so much about just owning myself. And I think, guys, I think it's super important because Dragon's just slightly older than me. But having people who have been through some of the phases that you've been through, this is why I never loved peers. I hate peers. Everybody's like, oh, kids need to have peers. And I hear this a lot because I homeschool my kids. But um well, what about their peers? No, no, you need people who have already been there, who've already laid that path and said, look, this shit is fucking hard, you have to do it. And there has been some really wonderful conversations with Dragon, who has already led some of those paths that I've had to go down and be like, what do I do? And I love, love, love having a friend that is even just a couple years older than me, and Dragon's just barely older than me, but just love having somebody who's already put those paths, that those pavers down for her path, to say, look, this is what I had to do. There was a tree there. There was some kind of something that I had to overcome that. And it's not like we can't go back and forth because we're all on our own unique paths, right? But there are people there that are like, look, this is how I just show up. And Dragon has taught me so much about friendship, which is why she is one of my best friends, because you need people to teach you those things out in the world. So why shouldn't art be framed? She says while looking at empty frames on the table and our elsewhere waiting frames. Yeah, just grab something, like, let's cut this, let's do this. I think homeschooling is becoming more common in the recent years, maybe after COVID, where people are finding. Look, I think not even just after COVID, but school shootings. Like, I understand, but I've talked to lots of teachers that are not happy because I'm like, oh well, I love teachers, I love teaching, I pay very much for Eva, because she's Dom's already graduated from homeschool and he has an amazing job now. He's making more money than I was making at T-Mobile when I was making my commissions. He is, starting a career in IT and stuff like that, which I think is awesome. But that homeschool got him that extra leverage in the door. But not only that, like, Eva is, I don't know if you guys know this, I'm sure I've talked about it a little bit, but Eva likes to draw. So she has an iPad and she'll draw. And then what she'll do is she'll go into another program, a light motion, and she'll animate it. And she will go and do all this animation. She's got her own YouTube channel that, I help her run and stuff like that. She has over 110 followers at this point, the subscribers at this point in time. And she is just continues to draw her art, animate her art, and put it out there. So as a mom, I want to support this. And there's so many people who are like, oh, well, my child who may be, ADHD or autistic or something else like this, they need to focus on school. Well, her school is learning some other things. So part of her school, because she's got 5 school classes that she has to do, but part of her schooling is now taking Skillshare classes to learn further animation because she loves that. So like, it's supporting the things that she loves. That could change. That could be a future career, but she's 12 and she's already so good at it. She's already building a following. She's knowing what she likes. She plays video games. She does, but it's supporting a child in something. And people go, well, how should she get paid? Doesn't matter. She's enjoying life. I know, when is her Pixar movie? Like, she has OC content, like original content, that she's doing, but she loves playing a game like Dandy's World. So she'll recreate those characters in her own making, and then she'll animate them to do fun dances. She'll put them with music. She puts them with lights. Like, they're really crazy. Hold on a second. I will. Let me go here because I think if I go back to YouTube. If y'all want to check out some of her stuff, she's got new stuff that she just put out. This is her channel. little goobarts and gaming. So, not to just like, plug my kid and stuff like that, but she's worth plugging because her stuff is so good. Like her shorts is where she makes all of her little animations and stuff like that. If you play Dandy's World, I mean, it's the start of something that's really awesome, but like the time and energy she puts into it, the layers that she puts into it, because she draws every single piece on a different layer so she can animate all those layers. And I'm like, I'm trying to teach her Procreate animation, and that's one of her classes she's got to take on Skillshare because she brings it into a light motion so that she knows that she could do the things and stuff like that. So, but she's literally a great kid. I think homeschooling is really great, especially if you have kids who don't learn linearly. But I think that linear learning is the way of the past and not really the way of the future. So, um, homeschool is not an option for everyone, so you need both because not everyone is in the same or in the same environment. Exactly. And I'm not knocking public school. I think that public school has become less about learning and more about babysitting. And that is my viewpoint. It's not saying that like you can't, because and they're making it harder and harder and harder because they have these beautiful charter schools which are wonderful and amazing, but like some families may not qualify for that, and some families may not qualify for a private education, and some, like, I'm not wishing that we have like a Korean education or like a Chinese education where they go to school for 16 hours a day, but something that supports a child learning, because you don't realize how much kids learn just by doing things, by building Lego, by coloring, by creating art, by being athletic at like the jungle gyms at the schools, or at the parks and stuff like that. There's so many things that kids are learning, and I think we take that for granted because when they're in school they have to sit down, shut up, and pay attention. That's the biggest part. Like, people go, well, when is she supposed to like hang out with friends and stuff like that? And I'm like, do you think she hangs out with friends at school? Like, because when she was in school, the two kids that she hung out with in kindergarten, first grade, and second grade, she went to the same school for. She was in public school because my business was doing so much that I was like, she's so little, she has a lot of energy, she needs to learn socialization, so she'll go for public school. The two fucking girls that she hung out with, one girl thought that she was convinced that she was a vampire, and she always tried to like let Eva know, like, I'm going to like come kill you sometime and suck your blood, in first grade. And then the other girl always stole shit and taught Eva to steal stuff. So we would get we would get emails and phone calls from the teacher, because thank God she had the same teacher for first and second grade. She had a different teacher for but like in the same it was a STEM school, but like a different teacher for kindergarten. Anyways, they would be like, so she would have them for majority of like first and second, and then they would get somebody else who also kind of co-taught in the first and second and third and fourth, whatever. But the other girl was constantly stealing shit and convinced Eva that it was okay. So kids' toys were missing, lunches were missing, like teacher stuff was missing, and then it was either Eva or this girl who had the stuff. And I was like, this is not okay. And so every time somebody goes, well, she needs to be in a public school, and I'm like, what? So she can like go kill somebody, or because she thinks she's a vampire, or she's stealing shit because that's taught to be appropriate at first grade? I'm like, my kid will be fine staying at home. She has no problem making friends. She's a but according to her like ADHD and her, I think, autism, she's a little slow to warm up to people. She's okay at the playground, 12 years old. She's okay going to the playground because we go often, and she'll still be like, oh hey, do you want to play? So she doesn't do like group projects like that, so she'll do projects with me. um it's but she has no problem with working with others though, because her best friend Nash, when she's over at her dad's house, her best friend still lives in the backyard and stuff like that, and they are always doing group things. with all the neighborhood kids, whether that's building a fort, whether that's saving the cat that keeps getting out or whatever. Like they're always doing something. So she has programs and stuff like that. She just finished her art class, which she takes that outside of school, and then she's getting ready to start a cooking class, which I think is really kind of cool. So well, and the problem with homeschool kids is that most of them are religious based. And so a lot of them, because we used to be a part of a lot of homeschool co ops, and back when all three kids were doing homeschool, I actually was the local homeschool representative. So I was running a lot of the clubs, I was doing a lot of the things, trying to get kids involved and stuff like that. And we'd have some parents that are like, oh, I'm really good with physics. So then, like, that parent would teach physics and stuff like that. Or, like, I taught art and stuff like that. We would all kind of do those things. And then they would work on projects and things like that. Eva was too little to do some of those things at that time. Good morning, King. We have an ad coming in 3 minutes. But a lot of those families, their kids were weird because they were never taught to socialize. Eva, all of my kids were always taught to talk to everybody. I mean, not like, hey stranger, how you doing? I'll get in your van and go help you look for that puppy. Not like that. But they were never just like, oh, we only talk to kids. They learned how to be respectful in talking to adults. Kim, I think you've definitely gotten to see that when Eva was here, when you were here, how she was just like, oh, like she has no problem with interactions and things like that. But she also knows that when it comes to like doing group projects or anything, that she doesn't have to always be the leader. She did show you her animations. So she was like, hey, new friend, I will totally tell you all the things. When she's comfortable, she'll show you all the things. And my kids were always taught that everyone is your peer, because once you're out of school, like literally once you graduate high school, now you're working with people of all ages. You need to know how to talk to people of all ages, which is why like Dominic is so successful right now, because he's working with people that are in their 30s and 40s, and they're like, he's 18, mind you, he's 18. They're like, hey, so when are we gonna go grab a beer together? And Dom's all like, I'm 18. He doesn't look like he's 18, but he also doesn't present himself as a typical 18-year-old. So I think there is a lot of benefits, and I'm not saying I did it right. I'm sure I did something wrong. I'm sure I was not the bestest when it came to XYZ thing, but for them to be successful adults, absolutely. Hadley works in the medical field right now, so she's learning how to deal with people all different ages and all different things. Eva's going to learn to do something else, but Eva's different because again, she's got the ADHD, but I think she's got the autism portion of that too. So this is why we go to the park. This is why we're like, oh, hey, Fred, do you want to come over? And sometimes I have to be the one who goes, hey, would you like to play with us? This is my daughter, Eva. She's doing da-da-da-da. And the kids are like, oh my gosh, yeah, So I tried because I know that there was a lot of like, this is what I didn't get when I was a kid. So this is what I want my kids to have, Dragon, So like, just to be able to do all of those things. I'm very proud of both of my, my older kids, of Eva, or of Dom and Hadley, because they've already gotten there. Eva, I don't have any questions that she'll get there too. Her stuff may just be a little bit, her path is going to look different because she is not like her brother or sister. She is, but she isn't, So it is just how it is. That is so not even. I love it. Nobody else is going to notice. So, but that's, I don't know. That's really a long way. We've gone on some topics today. I love showing up with. Is it because I screamed some like food before I ate breakfast or whatever? But no, I think like homeschooling, it definitely has its benefits if it works for a family or something. And again, it can't work for every family, but I love education. I do. It sounds funny because people are always like, oh, well, like, don't you worry about like your kids' education? I'm like, bro, I am their education. I was the first one who taught them to do their ABCs. I was the first one to teach them how to ride bikes, to, write, to read, to play video games, to do the things that they did. I was there setting that example for them. There was not a teacher who said, hold up a second, I'll take over this for you. There was never any of that there. So I love education more than I think a lot of people do, because I, like, goes back to my human design. Um I'm a 1-3, like human design, meaning that I need to learn stuff and then I need to master my stuff. And that is how I show up in the world, is I need to learn it, I need to master it. That is my like design right there. I love to learn, which is so true. Give me any freaking topic. If I don't know about it, I'll come back to you in like 6 weeks and I'll know what I need to know. And that is diving deep into it, so but then I have to master it. That is something that I have to master, because if I cannot explain it to somebody else, and I've always said this, if you cannot explain it to a 5-year-old that they get it, you didn't learn the material. You just didn't, because you should not need a freaking PhD to be able to explain to somebody how to do something. If you don't know all the ways to explain what it is that you are doing, then you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And that is what is right for me and what is like how I learn. So my kids have definitely benefited from the fact that I am my unique, special little unicorn self, because I have been able to say, like, I hated growing up. My parents would, like, I'd say why. I say why a lot. I ask a lot of questions. When somebody goes, you can't do this, I'm like, why? Or somebody's like, you need to do this, why? They don't like me. This is why I like working for myself, because when I'm in corporate, they'll be like, okay, so we really need to be like, da 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 da. I'm like, why? And they're like, they're like, because I said so. That is not a good enough reason. Tell me why I need to do it this way. Tell me why this is the best strategy. Tell me why you think you are the best person to have this figured out, because I guarantee you, give me like an hour or two or however long I need to like figure this out, and I'm going to shortcut the way for you. It's going to be far simpler. It's going to be far better, because that is my mastery sense of like why I do the things that I do. So, and there's nothing wrong with that, but like growing up as a kid, my parents would be like, because I said so. That is not a valid reason as to why you tell a child why not to do something. When I tell my kids, hey, I need you to do this, and I expect the natural why to come up because they are my kids, I always go, and the reason why I'm asking you to do this is because this right here. And it helps bridge the gap between what I need them to do and them actually doing it, because now they understand the why. And I always give them the free space to go, if you need to change things, because that's how it works with your human design, because my kids all know human design in this house. We work according to that. I'm just worse with myself, but and that's really just the way I respond to stuff, because I always want to say yes to everything, and then I'm like, I did not say yes when I was aligned with that. So my kids know, like, they can change it to best suit, and both my kids are manifesting generators, so like they're both gonna do things a little bit different. Eva's like me, she has to talk, she has a strong throat chakra and stuff like that, so we have a lot of talking things out. So we do better soundboarding things between each other, and those look like yes or no questions. Do you want to do this? Yes. Do you want to do that? No. And that may be something that works 100% better for her. So whereas Dominic, he has to respond a little bit differently, and his is going to be a uh-huh or kind of situation. So but like I always tell them why. Yes, the second you told me why and I understand 110%, I'm on board. But until then, exactly, you cannot convince me without telling me why to do something. You can't say like this is good, and I think this is the follower syndrome. I don't have this. I'm not a follower. I don't have follower syndrome, which is do this thing and people go, okay boss, or okay, I'll just do the things. I am not somebody, this is why I would never have been good in like the military. Although I really wanted to be part of the military because I really, I, because all of my uncles were, my grandpa was, and like I wanted to serve our country way back when, but I was a mom, so um but like I would never be good in the military because I'd be like, why? And they'd be like, private. No, do it because I freaking told you to. And it's not that I challenge authority, I just need to know why. Like, just tell me, and like we'll be so good. So but I know this about myself, you know. uh Dragon says me neither. You were just about ready to say military. Yeah, I just, but I'm glad that I figured that out because I like, I'm glad the universe knew, the universe knew me better than I knew myself, because I was like fucking dead. So cryptology was like a really big thing back in the day, right? And I love puzzle games. As my brain makes sense of them. I don't know how to explain it, but there was a cryptology test that you had to take, and I really wanted to get into the army in cryptology. And so I took this test back in like 2002, 2003, and I scored high enough that they showed up at my door to be like, oh, we would like to recruit you. And I was like, cool, this is awesome. Let's do this thing. But the thing that I couldn't do was go into the military because I was a single mom to Hadley at the time. And so they were like, oh, well, we can't, you know, like if something were to happen to you, like you wouldn't be able to. So I'm like so happy that the universe knew like I couldn't do those things, because I don't think I would have gotten into a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. My husband's military and I hang out with his friends in the military suite at school, and they all thought the same about me. Yeah. Like my brothers, you know, because my brother was in the Navy. So um like there's just things, and I'll just ask him why on some stuff, and now he's learned to listen to like what I need on things, as opposed to just being like, but I'm very, I guess part of getting older is advocating for myself, and definitely like saying, this is, you want to have a good relationship with me, you need to tell me why. And that's just how it's going to be, because I can't function without that why. And I won't do it otherwise. So I think like we finally got to the point where like we can have those kind of conversations and it just works. But kids are nosy. They want to know why. They want to know why they're doing something. But how else are they supposed to learn about the world if they aren't told these things? But I look at it this way. I'm also like that. So I need to, for my own, which is why like I wanted to be a teacher, because I could easily tell a kid like, hey, this is why. And so I do not see that the universe had a wonderful sense of humor and was like, you want to be a teacher, here is 3 children to teach. Here you go, put your best foot forward. So I just think it's funny though, because you know, I've heard everything from, well, what makes you the most qualified person to teach my teacher killed? Well, they're mine, first off. I want the best for them, secondly. I'm not saying that teachers don't, but like you can only do so much. And when you have a full class of other kids, you're only able to do so much things in there. So I'm like, so it's my reasoning I've always used. Whoops, that was not quite that. But thanks for the really great conversations today, guys. Hope y'all are getting stuff done. And don't be afraid to ask why. Like I'm never withheld, like I don't withhold whys from anybody. So if somebody were to ask me why on something, I'll tell them. Because it's so important. There we go. Let's go this one here. Just move that over just a little bit so it can be more in the middle. Can you give a room of 20 plus kids time and attention needed? Yeah, you can't. You just literally can't. And that's the thing. And again, like, I go back and forth. If a family can, you know, support being at home, there are wonderful, beautiful programs for kids to be at home. And at a certain point in time, they can still get that. And then that's what parks are for. Take a kid to a park. Take a kid to different activities and things like that. They'll get the socialization. But in classes, they don't. And recess is 15 minutes long. And you have a morning recess, a lunch period, which once they're done with lunch, which is a half an hour, once they're done with lunch, then they can have recess time. And then they get an afternoon recess, so long as they earn the afternoon recess, like, which I think is bullshit in the first place. But until then, you get in trouble, because you remember when you were in class, if you're an ADHD person, you remember in class, they would be like, shh, stop talking, pay attention. Because that happened to me all the time when I was in school. And I'm like, but I'm socializing. This is what I'm supposed to do. So, it's not, you know, it's, I got in so much trouble for that. This should have been our first clue. Oh, you always like to talk about the things? Oh, okay. That's so different from your upbringing, really? Yeah, so, okay, that is according to the sub schools. I don't know if regular public schools have that, because I'm just basing that on when my kids were in STEM, which is a charter school compared to like the public schools. You had to, like, if I was signing my kids up for STEM for going into this, you know, this fall, I've already missed the deadline. They'd have to go into public school because I didn't hit that deadline. Literally, you sign them up the last week or 2 weeks of the school year before, like, so like the first week of June, you sign them up to be in a lottery to have their names. But once they're in the school, then they can come back every single year. So there is no earning recess, though. I often have to go to library. Yeah. So like, there was, when Eva was in second grade, her teacher would send out so we didn't have an afternoon recess because the kids were not behaving in class. So we're punishing them by taking away the activity of which they needed so they can get all their wiggles out, because at 6 years old, we're expecting them to, well, 7 years old, we're expecting them to sit down and shut up like good little adults do. And I'm like, that fucking pissed me off so much. It pissed me off. The amount of projection that we put on small children to be able to sit down, shut up, and not talk, not to communicate, not, it should be very free and open. But yeah, those kind of days really just pissed me off. So when COVID happened, I was like, oh, this is amazing, because now my kids can actually like go and have fun and do all the things. So I always say that everybody added to the COVID situation, and not like, and like, please understand when I say this, it's just, it's not that everybody wanted people to get sick. It's that we all we needed some time to, yeah, let's remove the exercise and promote sedentary lifestyles. Exactly. Hold on, Redmond, I'll get to yours. But it's that we always sat there and we said to the universe, we said, universe, I need an extra day off. I just want to be able to stay home and be with my kids. I just want to be able to do this. We're putting up these little rockets of desire, and we as a planet are doing that. What is going to conspire? When you're sending up rockets of desire, I want to work from home. I want to do this. I want to do that. The universe is like, baby, I got you. I got you. I got you. Every single time you go, I want this. I want this. I want this feeling. I want this. The universe conspires with us and says, baby, I got you. The thing is we had reached a collective whole for us to all bring together a stopping point of our world, which is so magnificent when you look back on it, that everybody was like, what the fuck? And yeah, there was some bad shit that happened. People lost lives. There was people who ended up homeless. There was, assholes and stuff like that out there. And I'm not saying there wasn't. And I'm not saying it was great. But we collectively came together to create an event that allowed us to see a glimpse of what it looked like to spend more time doing our own thing, because so many people's hobbies happened then. So many people were like, I don't have a fucking job, so I'm gonna start this side business. So much good came out of it that like it was really for the benefit of our planet. And I know that a lot of people are not going to agree with me, and I don't need you to. I don't need you to. I know what I know, you know what you know, that is that. It did luckily all work out. It changed the way that the future is going to go, because people realize, and not all companies, because some companies are still assholes and like, we need you back in the office. But a lot of companies went, you know what? We don't need you all to be in the office. We need you to live your best life and have more remote work. We have more remote workers than we had in the 80s and 90s and 2000s. So like, we learned some things. We've learned that time and like time balance is so important. You have more companies that are trying to give, like, here's unlimited PTO time, take the time that you need, so long as you're showing up, you're doing your work and you're doing the thing, like, take the time that you need. You met for school enrollment by COVID help. That's kind of like what it's here. Part of the stress of when we were moving house was getting our little ones into the school closest to our house. We wanted the deal with the sellers to go through ASAP before enrollment day came and went. Oh, yes. It all worked out. Lots of sudden technology advances due to need and working from home. There was, but those technology advances were there. We just fast paced them into the public market. That's what happened. Like when you're looking around, and I don't know if anybody has really just stopped to look back and go, whoa, we had this shit here, but we were kind of gatekeeping, and now we're able to do this stuff. Now you have things like Slack and Teams, and you have Discord, and you have like a way to bring everybody into a room, essentially a virtual room. Nobody has to freaking be there and be present for the things. Like I read a story the other day, which was so great on Reddit. I love just cruising Reddit sometimes, but this was somebody who is like malicious compliance, right? And love that subreddit. And what happened was they got a new boss, and the new boss was like, oh, I want there to be like meetings at noontime. Well, this person had scheduled, and this is literally what I thought of, Redmond. I totally thought of you on this one, because I was like, I could see Redmond doing this. But like that was their from 12 to 1 was their block for lunch. And then this person started scheduling meetings at like 12:15. And that person was like, no, that does not work. That does not work for me, because that is my lunchtime. And the person was like, I don't care. So the dude kept showing up with these extravagant meals to the thing, and it was pissing people off, or pissing the main manager off, because here he is just chomping on like plates of spaghetti and like big ass pizzas, like, anybody want pizza, like he's bringing in all of this food but not letting the main person have it. And I was like, I love the malicious compliance. And the person realized, like, we're not taking back this dude stuff, because here you're like eating a personal fan, right? Right? He's like sitting there while the guy is talking with the spaghetti, and I'm just like, this is so beautiful. This is how you reach them at the same level, because there is no reason to first off, to put them back in the office so that you can micromanage, because my ex-husband worked in the office all the time, and you know what he told me? I barely worked. You know what I did? I walked around and I fucking talked to everybody. He was more social at work than he ever was as getting work done. So like, what, you want to just make sure that people are socialized when they come back into work, and you still want to pay them $60,000? Then why do you try so hard, right? Yeah, my company forced everyone back into the office 5 days a week. Well, we had the tech available to keep everyone working remotely. Management just didn't care. They wanted people in office. Exactly. What they're doing is to micromanage to make sure that they're at their desk and working, because that's collect. Yeah, you did nothing on Wednesdays when I was called at the office, because that's collect. Exactly. You're, oh hey, how's everything going and stuff like that. But I was so like floored. I'm like, you're gonna get in trouble, because I've never worked in a corporate environment like that, in an office setting like that. um and I kept saying, like, you're gonna get in trouble for not like working and stuff like that. And it really, no, it wasn't even that he was getting his work done, because he had a project that he easily could have finished in like a day or two, had he not had people stopping by his desk, constantly getting involved into meetings, and like had to actually show up on meetings, so he was away from his computer and stuff like that. But he was like, by the time like the meetings and stuff like that, he's like, I only actually did like an hour or two of work. So this project is now going to take an extra 6 weeks to do, because I'm only putting an hour or two into it, versus working from home where you don't have those kind of distractions. Although stupid freaking corporate people, who should not be corporate people, don't understand that you're getting more work-life balance done. You can go and be like, oh, I'm going to get a cup of coffee and throw a load of laundry in, and still spend less time. Fuck that boss, right? Yeah. And we were yelled at to be in the office on Wednesday by our new boss, who was remote in another state. Yeah, the irony of it, right? Because, well, I gotta make sure that it shows that I'm looking good, because my team numbers and the completion of tasks and stuff. No, it is not about people being there. It is about what is getting done. How is the project moving? And this is where I think, like, oh, I'd be excellent as like a corporate boss, but I don't want to deal with the corporate world, and I don't want to have to work my way up with a lot of people being like, I think my current boss has the issue of too many meetings to get work done. Yeah, we don't need to talk about all this shit. Send it in a fucking email. Let me get my work done. Let's move the project timeline done. Because project managers, which I am not certified as project manager, but I could do really good at this, is not about how many meetings we have about the damn project. It's key bulletin points. Here's the project. This is the timeline. This is what needs to get done. Send me in a weekly, where are you at? How can I help out? How can I do the things? Instead of, let's have a fucking meeting about this shit. So I've never been a fan of like corporate that way anyways, but that's just me. So it's ridiculous, the how we end up showing up for the employees. But that's why I think like COVID showed us like how we could do our world a little bit differently. We have so many check-ins in the meetings about the check-ins. It's micromanaging at like the dumbest of levels. And meanwhile, we're like, why isn't this project moving? Why isn't this doing this? Why is this still an issue? How come we haven't? And then you got real people who are like potentially losing jobs or getting the stress because the project isn't done, but they're in a freaking meeting again about why they're not getting the project done. Yeah, you could care less if somebody has a clean desk and iron suit. If it was an investor, my concern is, what is the company's outputs? Exactly. What are we outputting versus what are we taking in? Like, they forget that. They forget so much of that. How can I TED talk this to corporates? Because they forget how to do the things. Yeah, mom has like 3 meetings a day and they complains work isn't. Exactly. Because in the meeting, we're complaining that the work isn't getting done. No shit, because you took me away for another 45 minutes to an hour just so that you feel all bossy and superior, so that you could be like, I talked to those guys, but they're not doing it, so there's the due diligence. This is why I did not work well at T-Mobile. Like, I loved my T-Mobile job when I was just an associate, but once I got into a manager role, it was like meeting after meeting of like, why are you not doing the things? Well, I'm not gonna fucking have a meeting with the people who are trying to make their numbers, because if I'm pulling them into a meeting and somebody walks in, how the fuck are they gonna make their goddamn numbers? And they were like, well, that's not being a team player, Jen. No shit, because I'm not a team player, because I'm here to break the status quo. That is my job. And then they were surprised when I asked to move my dedicated hour for professional development to Friday instead of Tuesday when I had a big deadline on Wednesday. Like, why do I need to do this? Exactly. I'm so glad to have a work pullover that I could just throw on over my pajamas for meetings, right? Yeah, Dom just found out that his job is hybrid, and he's really like excited by that because that was not disclosed to him when he started the position. So he's like, Mom, I get to work from home after, like after his first month, just because he's doing like system administration stuff is technically kind of like his role. So I'm like, look at my baby at 18 getting a sysadmin job. Although that's not what they advertised it as, but that's really what it is. So I'm really excited. Meeting versus working. Let's just say, yeah, no, they. I am so excited for him too. He told me that because I sent him a message when I woke up this morning. I was like running really fast to like get stuff done so I could get on to stream, and and he tells. So I saw that I bought him like these these beef sticks so he could have like beef sticks and cheese for like snacks or whatever for like throughout his day at work and stuff. And so I bought him some, but I saw that he just took the whole pack and I was like, oh shit, I don't know if he saw that they need to be refrigerated. So I sent him a text message real quick like, hey, saw you took those, make sure that those are refrigerated or they're gonna go bad. And then like we're kind of SOL because then you're out a pack of them. And so he's like, oh yeah, I put him in my mini fridge underneath my desk. I was like, what? So not only does he have his own laptop, 3 monitors, his own desk, he's got a Windows, he's got all the things. He shares an office with one other person, but it's like a really big office. He's got a little mini fridge. He's like, yeah, I got a mini fridge, so I brought in some protein shakes and stuff. I was like, okay, day 2, day 3 technically, day 3. I'm like, right? And he's like, and I get to work hybrid, but I'm only going to work hybrid on Fridays. And I was like, okay. So yeah, he's really excited. I'm really proud of him. Yeah, he's got it covered. He's fine. Mom, don't worry. He's fine. He got this all figured out. But like I'm looking out for the kid, so he's so cute. I adore him. But I just thought it was so funny because he's like, yeah, it's in my little mini fridge. I was like, what? You didn't mention no mini fridge. So I was like, okay, send me a picture. Yeah, sure shit. He's got a little mini fridge right there. I was like, that's amazing. They did really good on taking care of him that way. So I'm really, really like glad that he got this. He was looking at he was working in another position for a different company, and he was contract for that work, and he was trying to get them to like buy him out so that he could stay working for that company. And I said, do you really want to have them buy you out when you still haven't even gotten a key card for like getting into the building and stuff like that? And they're not going to like up your pay or anything. And they did actually come in with a really good well, it is day 4. It technically is day 2, but it is, or day 3. It is technically his second day because the first day he went in and he did HR stuff and things like that. So the first day was really like there. And his manager was at a second office, so he wasn't really like doing much. So today is technically day 3, but day 2 working with his manager and stuff like that. And he was like, Mom, I'm so bummed because I stayed longer yesterday so I could get in my full 8 hours because I went out with my boss, and my boss took me out to a really nice restaurant to get like lunch and stuff. And I was like, oh, so I was all like, oh, I love that, Kim. Current job gave you $750 prepaid card to purchase anything I wanted. Nice. I love that. I love when companies do take care of their people, because those little itty bitty things is what makes somebody stay and really invest in the company. And so many companies forget that it's a mutual relationship. Yeah, you can provide money, but there's somebody else that will also provide money that will give a better feeling for the things. Like I said, at Dom's old job, they didn't even give him a freaking key card to get back into the building. So when he left for lunch, he had to wait for somebody to also not be on lunch to let him back into the building. And he's like, okay, well, I'm only one of, because he got quickly moved from the team that he was hired for to go to a completely different team, because he like was advancing so quickly at his original role that they're like, this kid actually like tries and wants to learn some stuff, so we're going to put him on this role. And so that role was I think it's the first of 3 weeks vacations. Yeah. It's so they put him on a second role, but like it was him and a girl, like that was it. His co-worker had been doing the role for the last 9 months, and when she left to go to lunch, or when she went to go take a smoke break and he went to go take a break, he had to wait for her, or he had to like have somebody else let him into the building, and he had already worked there for 2 months, and he was like, they can't even give me a damn key card. So the day before he puts in his 2-week notice, because he'd already gotten the other job, they gave him a key card because the other girl quit. I was like, yeah, like Epic on their first of 2-3 week vacations. Yeah, I love that, because you need work-life balance, and that's so important. I love a good company that like cares about its employees. So incredibly important. It makes people want to stay. It makes people want to talk about that company and make that company be seen. And people talk. People will tell you when they work for a good company or when they work for a bad company. They may have non-disclosures and shit like that, but people will talk and tell you that's what Glassdoor is for. Don't work for this company because XYZ reason. You know, so they're only doing themselves a disservice when they don't treat their people right. And unfortunately, we live in too much of a society where they just don't treat their people right. So, ooh. But if you do the things, the people are happy, they stay, they want to be there. I'm going to do a little push pin right here instead. Wait, those were kind of thick. Sorry, we've been talking for a while, and I need to get this stuff done. But a good company, so good. Especially because you have such a new generation starting work. I think that it's really important, because the one thing I can say that I do love about this, like these younger generations, I almost kind of want to put like a little... No, I'll save that for another thing. I want to do like one of those little headbands where it has like a little, like the little balls that kind of like move around. Remember those? I love those. I'm hydrating with coffee. What I do need though is so my lips are so dry. It's between going outside and then coming inside where it's chillier. I need some chapstick. Lip gloss, something. I'm not old enough to. Are you sure? Put a little sticky tape right here. And a little, whoops. There you go. So cute. There's your reminder. Call mom. If you have not talked to mom yet, call mom. These ones are easy because I already put the tape there for them. So. All right, now I have to do a poster here or something. Pivots into my lunch, or your lunch, my big work thing. You got this. You absolutely got this. I have to put that down. I love digital drawing for this right here. Or I could make it a little bit smaller. We have to redraw that. Unicorn dreams. Okay, I will center this up though. Oh, I'm gonna have to totally redraw that. It don't matter. No, it'll be fine. Took the dog out and gave her a yummy snack so she's distracted. Let's go. I love that. I don't even know if you can see that. It's fine. It's a fine. Actually, no, just keep it. I was gonna change the shape of this, but then I just decided I'm gonna keep it. Oops. Yeah, and I woke up this morning, like seeing you give them the treat for the dog, and I'm like pointing to Zai over there. She was looking at me like, what the heck? Like, she knew that I wasn't normal. Like, Mom, why are we not up yet? I have to go outside. She's such a cootie. So cute. And now she's been doing this thing when she gets her morning treat that she's all like, she won't eat her bone right away. It's one of those dental bones. Um, and so, which, if you guys have dogs and you're looking for like a really good dental treat that is VODADC, something like that. It's veterinary something or other. Dental hygiene something. Anyways, Sam's Club has the treats there, and they are so good for tartar buildup and plaque and things like that. So if you're looking for a good recommendation rather than like a Dentabone, and then you can break them in half. So if you have a smaller dog like what I have, they're so good. I just need to put a list of recommendations of like just buy the things all the places. I try all of it for you. But she takes her bone and she like, yeah, greenies are good, but like my dentist or my dog's vet said that they are not as good as the ones that I got. And these are like white bones. I'll shoot you a picture. um I could always bring them up and say, yeah, she said they were not as good because greenies doesn't get like all of the plaque on there where these ones do. Now mind you, Zai is 8, so she's, you know, in the older category there. And my vet was like, whatever you're doing with her teeth, like, you're doing a great job. And I was like, okay, well, I just buy these ones here. She's like, yeah, those are perfect. And she's like, I didn't know that Sam's Club had them, so she was going to just let people know because apparently, like, I guess people don't know where to get stuff. So I'm just letting you guys know. But, and I'm thinking about it because this morning, so anyways, what she does is she gets a half, and like that's enough for her teeth. And she likes to carry it around now, and I have to be like, oh, are you gonna eat that bone? And she'd be like, arr. And she gets all playful and stuff like that. So the ones by Purina, we did try those ones, and I found that like it was just building up a lot of plaque. So they were like, you know, we were talking about anything VOC, and it's VODC or something like that. I'll shoot you a picture. And like when we meet up, I'll bring you some, and then you can see if she likes some. But like they're actually like recommended by vets and stuff like that. And so she likes to run around and just like have it in her mouth, and she always wants me to be like, are you gonna eat that bone? Are you gonna eat that bone? And she makes it like a little like habit of things like that. So I have to allow her a few extra moments in the morning to be able to like say that to her. Otherwise, the bone will sit there until I'm done with stuff. Now she's looking at me like, I got my bonus right here. Are you gonna eat that? Are you gonna eat that bone? Are you gonna eat that bone, puppy? She's looking at me like, you know, I'm not going to until you're done. But I just thought it was so cute because she's so silly like that. Yeah, I think, yeah, they're the white ones. And they look like they have little like dog paws on either side of them, and they look like a little bone and stuff like that. So for Toffee though, Toffee would probably get like a full one if she liked them. So just because she's a bigger dog than Zai is, not by much, but we'll just go like this. Maybe our unicorn is like a #1 donut champ. There you go. I'm gonna put a little icing in here. There you go. And then other than this little like let's see. Oops. I should pull these all down a little bit more. Here we go. Oh, I just had the greatest idea. Let me switch my pet though. Ooh. I don't know if I can make it. All right. Okay, let's pull everything away. And there is our coloring page. What do you guys think? Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to color this. One second, I do need to go in here though and add a little. Oops. After me, the dogs go have it. Okay, well, I'm just basically done. So, what do we think about that? Do we need something right here? How about like a little time? How about a little clock? Add just a little clock. And we'll have it go. And right here, it'll be a little unicorn horn and a hand. Okay, I love that. That is our coloring page. It is so cute. It's so simple. It's so adorable. I think my my little unicorn turned out pretty good. I can't wait to draw it. Or color it, I mean. I do want to take this, though. Ooh. And I do want to kind of warp it down just a little bit. All right, so we're done for today, but it came out so good. We have our books, Beauty and the Beast, one of my favorites, Unicorn Dreams, yeah, Life and Magic, I love that. Reminder of like Sacred Time, 11/11 is such a great time. We're just about at that time right now. Number one donut eating contest. I think for sure that needs to become like an actual award in the future. I think that's gonna have to become its own little separate thing. I love the little clock with like the little unicorn stuff. It's so good. Listen, you know, the number one donut eating contest winner should be like so good. Best friends, of course, coffee and donuts. Because like, come on, is there a better combo than those two? They're just so good. Ooh. Best friends and donuts. Hey, don't forget to call mom. And we always have a picture of like our best friend frog up here. I'm gonna make a donut award. I'm going to do that. I've just got a few things that I gotta finish up today. Dragon Earpiece is one of them. So like just gotta. Anyways, this is it. This is going to be up on the shop right after we finish stream. This is done. I'm just gonna put it up there right now. But just a very simple like coloring page. I think this is so adorable, just having that zen moment of, you know, just coloring and, you know, keeping that in mind. So I think I'm gonna color it a little bit later just because I can't wait to see this in its full glory. But you guys can get this on the fourth wall If you're subscribed to me on Instagram, you will definitely see this up on there so people know that they can also get this. But this is literally like some of the cutest stuff. Like, I love this. I almost want to, hold on a second. I'm probably going to change like a few things, but I almost want to make this a little bit bigger and to like bring it over just a little bit. Yeah, just like that. Because what are walls for? What are walls for? Thank you for that drop. Oh, you did not make it. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with me again today. We may be doing some art tomorrow. Yeah, well, let's do some more art tomorrow. I was going to show you the Lords of... Wait. I totally forgot. I see you gotta sleep. You got things. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry again that it was so late, but I'm so glad that I got to hang out with you guys. We still got our time in. We got 2 hours in today, which was really wonderful. So I super appreciate you guys. I don't know if you guys are gonna go somewhere for like a stream or whatever, but let's see if we've got anybody on. So if you guys hung around in Liz's stream yesterday, which I did, fortunately, because I was like working on my other project. So there's this here, but I was working on this one right here. Just a reminder, friends, rest is productive. It is so incredibly productive. So like do the things and make sure that you guys are doing the stuff. If you are a member, you got this as a little card so you can stick up somewhere. This was my final little card for the stuff yesterday. So just remember, rest is productive. It's okay to say no. It's okay to be in alignment with the things. If you don't know what your alignment is, reach out to me. I will show you how to get like human design stuff or whatever. But I was listening to her stream yesterday, and I love what she's actually working on. When we went into the duck thing, was that she is creating the duck stamp for oh shit, ad manager, I want to use that. Creating the duck stamp for the conservatory, so every year she could do that stuff. So she's not streaming, but if you guys did not follow her yesterday, it's I Paint Burbs. She is really great. We'll definitely go back and see, but she was looking at that stuff yesterday. She's got really great cozy streams and all this stuff. I don't see anybody who is not playing Fortnite. Because apparently like it's my Fortnite stuff, or like and Kells is, but she's not like she's not accepting raids right now. So we can bring you over to Marine Mammal Rescue, which is a nice cozy place to like spend the day and stuff like that. So let's go there. We'll start there, and you can watch some otters just being ottery. So look at the woo woo, right? Oh my gosh, so good, so good. We'll be back tomorrow, hopefully on time. Either way, if we are not back tomorrow, we'll be here. Well, no, we'll be here tomorrow. If it's not right on time, I will remember to set my alarm, but you know, sometimes the day gets long and I forget the things. But thank you for the grace this morning, for showing up and still having a good talk, a good chat, a good like freeing session like we did today. Hopefully that is really awesome and stuff like that. So thank you for the raid messages. Thank you for putting those up. I gotta put those into my stuff there. Grab one of those raid calls, come with us. It's cutie patootie little otters and really sweet music like what we've been listening to. So very chill, really great to put on in the background. Support Marine Mammal Rescue, which is a big thing for us, and we love to support the animals and stuff, but it allows you to get your work done while not being distracted by whatever the heck is going on in stream. So unlike our stream where we get distracted and we talk about all the things. Anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Love you all so much. See ya.